It's another day and another routine, hopefully with the purpose of educating our postures, and we all have quite different postures, how to find a true imprint, which means that pelvic tilt that gives you back your abdominal lower fibres. Every exercise I do today is to try and give you the sense of where your pelvic imprint is, what it feels like. The feeling will always be when a true imprint, whatever position we're in, has happened. The lower fibres, we usually call it the bikini triangle, hip bone to pubis. So males and females, that sense of pulling from the belly button below down to the navel area, down to the pubic bone area, those fibres sucking everything in other words, engaging and activating. So let's get going. You'll need for this workout, I think, a head cushion, because a lot of it's going to end up on your back. Once you've got your position on the mat, the usual scenario, but sit with your bottom kind of halfway down the mat and then your feet to the end of your mat. We're going straight to lying down, so lower the body down and then rearrange to make sure your head cushion is where it belongs. Always wriggle and squiggle so that you're not holding all the tension in the wrong place. With your legs further away, they should still be bent. Walk your feet just until the feet can go naturally flat. Check that your knee joints are level with each other, as are your thigh bones parallel tram-lined, and start the journey of discovering your imprint. The head is heavy on the head cushion, and remember the neck isn't there. Pop your fingertips to your hip bones, and I would suggest you put your thumbs to the last couple of ribs here, so you're spanning the area that you should get feedback from. Start with the breathing in and out as you understand, in through the nose, out through the mouth. The head is heavy, nose to the ceiling. Breathing out then, create a pelvic tilt where the hip bones move away from the thigh bones and the lower back feels as though it kisses the floor behind you, and then stay for a breath in to know that that was an imprint. Breathing out then, you'll allow the hip bones to roll away. Inhale, exhaling. The fingertips on you will close towards the thumbs. So you're shortening the gap, you breathe in and you come back to where you belonged on the next breath out. Keep doing this, but gain more knowledge as the ground under you increases its positioning towards the lower back. If you get all the way into your lower back without using your glutes, without overly tipping, then you're finding your true imprint. It goes without saying that the rib cage has to join this journey. There's no gripping, grabbing, forcing, bracing. You're finding your range of movement, which is determined by the activation of your pelvic floor and the internal, external obliques that pull you in. So this is the pelvic triangle that tips and tilts. We're going to end that there because I believe we know enough. As your breath out happens then, find your true imprint. The true imprint will never take you to much more than a tilt of the pelvis. If you're really bendy and you overly bend, you'll feel pain in this point because you're creating shearing forces. So be conscious that the position behind you is a lightness to the ground, not a really dragged feeling to the ground. Keeping this pelvic imprint then, your feet are always already a little bit away. Go back to the knowledge of where the breath is. And then breathing out, you're going to start walking your heels without losing imprint towards your sit bones. Breathe in. And breathing out, keep the imprint, keep your fingertips where they are as you walk your legs away, maintaining connection to the ground. Breathe in. Exhaling. Small steps. Fingertips measure whether or not you're actually maintaining the ground as contacted through the lower back, waist area. Now, if you want more feedback sensory-wise, you can place your fingertips between the hip bones, and this fascial line here, this musculoskeletal sense, will be absolutely solid as the connection, contraction with the abdominal area and the core is taking place. It's actually hard to speak at the same time as staying here. So go back to that monitoring, inhaling, and if all you do is brace, you get a similar feeling but not the right changes going on in your system. Don't get bored with this. We're going to do it enough so that even the strongest abdominal will feel the activation of deliberately the lower fibres. Now, the other thing to watch is you can only walk your heels and legs as far away as you can maintain this lower back imprinting to the ground. And it really is walking legs with breathing abs. There are loads of ways of monitoring this. You can keep your hands over the whole of the abdomen. In some ways, if you're newer to Pilates or Lordotic particularly, Lordotic's that increased curve, then you need to pelvic tilt continuously. Not with force, but with the abdominals. If you force it, then you overdo your structure. Just as if you're massively bending flat-backed, you will overly tuck under. So you need to make sure that the power is coming from hip bone to hip bone, drawing the navel down to the spine, and it originates always, always, always with your breathing muscles. Okay, people, the next time you're halfway back, stay, keep breathing. And then exhale, curl, to now add the top end of the rib cage oblique, which should make it almost feel easier. So you're going to go walking away, and you watch your thighs inching away and coming back. If you want to have one hand on the belly area, the navel area, then do so. It should trigger a sensation of tension pulling down navel to spine. Put the other hand on. So I kind of doing 3 or 4 steps out and 3 or 4 steps back, but all the time I can feel my lower back imprinting, and I can feel the abdominal area stabilising that, making that imprint possible and real. People, the next time your heels come in, place your feet flat and let your head go down. Go breathing still and release the imprint. If there was nothing to release, you'd already lost it. When you release the imprint, go heavy and chilled, and you'll feel these fibres at the front of you relax off. The back should feel lovely and light, maybe some heat in it actually, because you've actually created blood flow to the lumbar area. We're going to do a slightly different exercise now. You've got your pelvic position as neutral. You're going to exhale, create that gentle imprint so the hip bones roll fractionally backwards, taking you into tilt. Holding that position there, then exhaling, curl up and simultaneously slide your heel away, and inhale, pull it back and uncurl at the end of that breath in. Exhale, curl, keeping the imprint. Slide the other heel away, pull it back, breathing in, keeping the imprint, and roll the head, neck and shoulders down, maintain imprint. Exhaling, heel slide or heel float, inhaling, pulling back, head down at the end of it. We've been doing a lot of this kind of keep the imprint. As you breathe in, you keep your head up till the leg almost returns, and it's the end of that breath in that you lower the head, neck and shoulders down rather than just throwing them back and losing the end part of what would be known as an eccentric connection. Exhale, nod and roll. Heel slide, you are in imprint. You maintain imprint breathing in, and your head goes down. Exhaling, roll. Heel slide, and inhaling back. Last time for the final side. And coming back. Now stay up there, put your hands under your head, straighten out the front leg, the first leg, which is my right leg. Inhale, exhale, lift it to the height of the other leg. Inhale, draw it down and open your elbows. Breathe out, you're imprinting, elbows come together, inhale, back down. It's butterfly arms. You can only lower that straight leg as lower as you can maintain the imprint of this area here. As the leg lifts and lowers, the fibres for the lower abs and under the navel feel their demand. You've got one more this side. Place that leg back and stretch out your other leg. Inhale, open those arms. Breathe out, that leg comes to the height of your other thigh. Resist any twist. If you're unsure, keep one hand on the belly.
So it's more important to keep the leg movement small than it is to look good. Exhale. Inhaling, you should feel very clearly the bikini area. If you need to rest, then do. Otherwise, pelvic floor, navel to spine. Inhale, slight lower. Exhale, pull. You should be feeling heat and the strengthening of the fibres going from the navel to the hip bones, diagonally, centrally, and across horizontally. One more. Place that heel down and place your hands on the sides of your mat. Relax everything. So you're allowing now a little bit of a shift. Sometimes when we stay in a position which is deliberate, it's to create a better feedback connection and endurance of those fibres. We can end up bracing, and that you don't want the brace, you want the living breath of the activation. I'm now allowing the thigh bones just to rock. It's really comfortable. And because you've been breathing, creating blood flow, that should free the hip up a tad anyway. We're going to take this next position to legs up into tabletop. So the next time you come back to more centered stay, you know the rules, go back to your pelvic imprint. Remember, you go pelvic floor, breathing out, rib cage placement, and pelvic tilt. That rolling of the hip bone area. Stay there, big breath in. Breathe out, curl up through the head, neck and shoulders. And now I can feel definite imprint. Pull one leg up into tabletop and then pull your second leg up. Stay there while you feel the central activation of everything. None of us have both sides equal, so by doing this 100 modified position, you're allowing that equilibrium between the fibre connections to take place, hopefully reorganising any skeletal twist. Once you've done that, put the hands back on the belly and put the head, neck and shoulders down. Maintain imprint just now. You're going to be doing thigh lowers, keeping the leg bent, and thigh lift. Breathe, exhale, connect, find imprint. The thigh lowers down, keeping the leg bent, and it returns back, breathing in. Exhale, find the imprinted connection here, inhale, return. Breathe out, and breathe in. Listen to me and keep connected. The leg can only go down as low as you can maintain the hip bones not popping back up and your spine lifting. No one's posture is the same and no one's strength is the same. You have to find for you, this is the purpose of this video, your position in imprint for this exercise. So this exercise, the leg is the load that you're keeping your fibres here active against. The fibres here are keeping your spinal pelvic stability whilst the leg load lowers and lifts. Okay, we're going to curl up and do the same. So curl and watch that leg lower down and pull it back up. Point your nose to your navel. Exhale, drawing the pubis to the ceiling, pulling the hip bones back. Exhaling, down it goes. Inhaling, up it comes. Breathe. We're not stopping soon. If you need to rest your head down or put your hands under your head, that's fine. But I promised you endurance so that you really would know. Now when you're doing this, because we've curled you up, it could be that the fibres that go from the rib cage to the navel get involved more almost than the lower fibres. Okay, the next time, you've got one more side to go, keep the rib cage curled, shoulder blades are off, lowering and lifting. Roll back down and stay. Push your legs to the ceiling, breathe in. Push your hands to the floor, you're in imprint still. Breathing out then, pick up your legs and pick up your tailbone. Exhale, press against the ground with the hands. And you're doing what's known as a reverse curl. The only way you can actually tilt your pelvis away from the ground is using the lower fibres of the abdominals. Now if all you're doing is relying on very bendy legs and no sense of structure of the pelvis and you're swinging your legs towards your face, that isn't the exercise. It's an upwards lift. You'll know it's right because these fibres here go Oh yes. And so the more lordotic you are, the less your range, but the far more intense it is on the lower fibres. The bendier you are, you need to definitely work for much more of a horizontal lift. The in-betweeners, which are your kind of flat backs, you'll find this relatively easy because you're already quite strong and tight in those lower fibres. Okay people, this is your last one. Your knees come into your chest and pull them right in so the hip flexors switch off and rock side to side. Again, the blood flow, there should be heat in the area, it should be pleasant, nothing else. You're breathing. The next shape will be going over onto your hands and knees and then down onto your forearms once you've found your all fours position. Place your feet down then. Let's take ourselves up and over. Go back to your knowledge of where you are on your mat. If you put your hands towards the front line at the end of the mat, spread your fingers and then have the thighs, the knees close together. Remember your chest stays between your thumbs, your heart shining down. We're going to go on to forearms straight away, otherwise I will hear whinging through the screen about wrists. Go down, one forearm, other forearm. I've got my elbows under my armpits, just move my head pad away, and I'm going to place my high forehead onto my hands. That creates a bit of a bend in the rib cage part of the spine. Stay here, breathing in and out. On the breath out, pelvic tilt. Breathe in, and on the breath out, let the tailbone and the sit bones reach up, taking you to the opposite range. Shoulders away from the neck, breathing out. Shrink pelvic floor, navel, spine. You'll feel the lower fibres that make up the bikini area, that triangle, hip bone to pubis, and breathing out. The abdominal area shrinks and hollows, the lower fibres activate, and you feel the obliques from the rib cage, maybe your lats ideally, from the armpit, all joining together to make you smoothly move and activate. We're going to stay in the pelvic tilt. Now, if you're a flat back and really bendy, don't overdo this tilt. In theory, you're in the same position you will be in your posture that's whatever that pelvic posture is, which is flat back. If you're lordotic, you're definitely tucking under. Whichever way now, everyone. Keep your forehead in your hands. You should be able to see your knees. You've tucked your toes ready under your feet. Your thighs are tight together. Exhaling, up you go, and inhaling, back down. Exhale, navel to spine. Inhale, back down. Resist any twist. And the reason you're looking for your knees lowering is to make sure they stay centered, left to right, and level with each other. Exhale. Exhaling, up you go, pelvic floor, navel to spine. Inhaling down. All the while, you're hollowing away from your clothing. Pelvic floor's coming up. The inner thighs are part of your connection. You 4 more. 3 more. Stop if you need to. 2 more. Last one. And when the knees go down, set the bottom back in the direction of your heels and reach your shoulders and arms straight. Take a moment to reconnect the breath and release the area as described in earlier activities. If you felt you weren't breathing in that last one, just do breathing now and releasing. Release every part of you so that when we come to tension and activate the right bits of you, you'll know the difference between a generalized brace and finding your core. Slide the hands back under the shoulder area and have it so that your thighs are level with each other. We're going to take ourselves into plank. We're going out to plank and back in from plank. So press the ground away, the heart is between your thumbs. Your pelvic position now is not imprint, it's a general neutral pelvic position. The reason we would cue imprint here is for people that are lordotic or who naturally sag because of an increase of kyphosis in the lower back. The best way of viewing the position for plank is that you need to engage your core area from rib cage under belly button, from pelvic bones left to right. The sense of core tension pulling the navel up. When you're pushing the ground away with your arm positioning, send one leg out, make it strong. Use the breath out to push your other leg out, make it strong. Breathe in, and then exhale, pull the leg back again. Keep it strong, and the leg back again. Exhaling, we go 1, 2, inhaling 3, 4. The ground pushes away, you're tensioning through the belly, the abdomen, the armpits, the ribs. If your shoulders move, you'll lose the trunk stabilizers that you're really trying to work with. People, the next time you're in your plank, stay strong, check that your feet are level, and now we crouch. Now the ground pushes back, you touch the knees and you reach forwards. It's like a bit of a reverse crunch. This is where the sense of pelvic tilt happens. So you pelvic tilt as you press. The bum goes back in the direction of the heels. You can feel the obliques and the lower bikini area. Yes, it's in your shoulders and arms, but that goes without saying, doesn't it? All right, 3 more. Remember, pelvic tilt, navel to spine, head looks at the soft touching down of the knees. And then the next time you go back, lower the knees down and stretch your arms away. Go back to the sense of breath, releasing everything that was working. If any misalignment took place, you're chasing it away. And we'll finish with you lying on your front, which will lengthen out the front line of you. So you're lying down. I've realised I probably need to do teasers, so I probably will after this, we'll see. Anyway, lengthen the legs away. This is a momentary stretch. So the thigh area and the pubic area is still understanding imprint. Your nose is pointing to the mat. Your hands are about armpit, shoulder height. Exhale to pelvic imprint. And then inhale to ease the upper spine away, keeping the imprint in the heavy legs. Exhale, back down. Inhaling, pubic bone imprint, thighs lengthened, lower back allowed to relax without being aggravated, and inhaling. So when I do this, if I don't think more through my left-hand side, I veer off to the right. Top tip, that's true for most of us. None of us flow with absolute symmetry. Up you go, all in the upper to mid-back, nothing in the lumbar spine, because you're imprinting by pulling the pubic bone down and you're pressing your feet to the ground, which is giving all the flexors a lengthened activation. Up you go and down you go. It wouldn't be right to finish this video without showing how to do a bit of a lean back. Go onto your forearms as we've done in the past. Catch your breath. So pelvic imprint in this position is exactly the same, just feels more intense. My natural back would happily arch just like that. I place my hands to the ground, I walk my thighs tight together. I find my breath because I've been talking, and on the breath out, I roll off my sit bones, much the same as we would if we were lying down, and I refuse to let my shoulders shrug. The area, ribcage to hip bones then, is finding a closeness. The bony landmarks have come together. My sacrum feels imprinted more or less to the ground, but not my lumbar spine. So if you're on your lumbar spine, that ain't right. From there then, breath out and in, other side. Breath out, stretch that leg away without losing the imprint. Put your fingertips to your hip bones and tell them to pull backwards in opposition to the leg going. There shouldn't be any structural change really. It's more that the fibres become more involved because you're touching the area that's saying, please do not pop away from the floor, but neither should it drag you any deep to the floor, particularly if you're a bendy Wendy And that really matters because you're overly flexed in the wrong place. And last time, staying there, breathe. Now exhale, same imprint of the spine, lift the leg, breathe in. Breathe out, send your other leg away. Breathe in, pull them together. Exhale. And if you feel all of this in your hip flexors, it would suggest you've lost the pelvic tilt and therefore your flexors are trying to stabilize the pelvis. I'm not saying that some of the flexors aren't working, but trust me, this is targeted lower abs, and the ideal is you resist the weight of the leg by staying tilted, activating the core through the breathing recruitment. The sense of pelvic tilt is blatant. Last one. This is how to build up strength that allow you to use moves like teaser, but more importantly, take away a lack of attention to the lower fibres of the abdominal area. It's true that as you get older, you find it harder and harder to kind of target muscles, but we just have to work at it. And I'm hoping that this video, we're just rocking side to side, hoping that this video has given you a little bit more of a clue as to how to manage in your posture, finding the imprint, so that whether you're here in the studio or staying online at home, there's a strong sense of a knowledge of that imprint. All that you need to do from this moment to end this workout for yourselves is relax everything off. You could even let the legs straighten and allow the tension to go and your natural posture to form. The evidence of my natural posture would be, if you could see under me, I've got the biggest gap. I naturally have this huge curve of the spine, making me a natural lordotic person, increase of lumbar curve. So that's me at ease. People, I'm going to leave you at ease and say goodbye to you. Make sure you do relax everything off, because you have massively worked through this lower fibre area, and that's great. It'll do you a load of good, so long as you didn't work when it was in your back. So stay relaxed, and tomorrow I'll find, hopefully tomorrow Thursday, another influencer for you, finding in your posture the right places, and hopefully it will apply the understanding of imprint into more positions. Take care, I say goodbye, I will see you again. Do this video, comment on it, and let me know if you'd like more of the same. Bye for now.